Thank you for all of you being patient today, and this is our fallback plan. We've been, most of us have been out for week like this, so it's been quite fun. So, I'm sorry. Hi. How are you? Anyway, thank you for coming. There's seating up there for those who need it, and I'd like to thank Gary Van Isle for making this happen, by the way. Where's Gary at? Right here. Give him a hand. All right, so be patient, bear with us, and we'll be right with you. Can you hear me fine now? Okay, now we can get started. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Great? All right, fantastic. I want to thank everyone for coming out today. Appreciate it. Saluting our fallen soldiers. I really appreciate that. So, welcome to our annual Memorial Day service sponsored by the American Legion and Veterans of Foreign Wars. During the service, please refrain from smoking. No, I'm kidding. We're inside. It's on my sheet, I have to say it. Sorry. Okay. The black and white POW MIA flag and the empty chair, wherever it is. Where's my chair? My chair here? It's over there. It's a physical symbol of thousands of American POW and MIAs still unaccounted for in World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. The flag is a reminder for all of us to spare no effort to secure the release of any American prisoner from captivity, the repatriation of the remains of those who died bravely in the defense of liberty, and the full accounting of those missing. Let us dedicate ourselves for this vital endeavor. Everybody please stand. Those wearing caps on cover, everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
At this time, Steve Tompkins, American Legion, will lead us into prayer.
This day we remove before you all serve in the armed forces of our nation. Protect and defend them in the day of battle and in the grant that they may serve with honor and dignity both to your great glory and to the credit of this nation.
Amen. You seated? I love the squeaky shoes. That's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a special day, not just for those of us who have worn our country's uniform, but also for all Americans. We have set aside this day to honor Americans who have given their lives to protect and defend two cherished beliefs: freedom and democracy. When I think of those brave men and women, I am saddened that they didn't have the opportunity to say a final goodbye or give a hug or a kiss to their loved ones, their parents or their spouses or their children. These simple facts should never be taken for granted. We live in a nation that has more rights and freedoms than any other on the face of this earth. These rights and freedoms reflect in the 13 red and white stripes and the 50 stars in the field of blue. They have been protected and defended by Americans time and time again. As many of our brave and dedicated soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and many American families have learned, freedom is not free and democracy must be defended. But each of these values comes with a price. Memorial Day means much more to Americans than just a day off from work. And we all enjoy the day off. But we must sacrifice for those freedoms. It represents the memory of all those brave Americans who died to allow us the privileges to this unique and wonderful country. At this time, I'd like to welcome our Honorable Mark Winchell, our Mayor of the City of Chaska, to come forward. Give him a hand.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. And thanks, Commander Nassau. I'm really honored to be here speaking this morning. Again, thank you, everyone, for attending. And if you are a visitor from out of town, I'm really happy that you decided to join us this morning. When I was asked to deliver a welcome this morning, I really struggled with what to say, especially when we are honoring families who have lost a loved one protecting our freedoms. Many of us will never understand what it is like to be away from your family for months or even years at a time and in different and in hostile environments. Most of us will never know what it is like waiting at home for that loved one to return, having to carry on your life as normal as you possibly could. And thank God, only a few, by comparison, ever received the news that a loved one has made the ultimate sacrifice while serving this great nation. So rather than say welcome, I will instead say thank you to those who in this community who have served, to the families who have muddled through their life during the course of a deployment, to the brave soldiers who have been willing to give their life and to help defend this nation, our freedoms. This is the least we can do to honor these men and women and let them know how indebted Chaska is for what you are willing to do for the community and country. It is important that we take time to reflect on these sacrifices to let the veterans and their families know how much we, Chaska, appreciate them. Thank you to all. If you have not visited the new Veterans Park across from the VFW, I hope you make an effort to. This is just another way that Chaska is paying tribute to all the men and women that have served this country, and especially the families that their loved one made that supreme sacrifice. Thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this ceremony.
Thank you, Mayor. Today, I would like to introduce our guest speaker. Oh, I'll rephrase that. Sorry. Thank you, Mayor. I would like to introduce our first speaker. And I don't want to pronounce this wrong, but I'm going to do my best here. Cheyenne Mujunder, is that your name? Come on up. He comes from Middle School East, and he's the son of Sandip and Susmita Mujunder.
Thank you for being here today. I'm honored to have the opportunity to stand here with all of you to recognize the sacrifices of all military men and women for their service to protect our nation. I want to take some time today to honor the soldiers who served or are currently serving, and anybody who lost their loved ones in the service of this nation. We should use this day to show our gratitude to all these service personnel. Today, in the morning of Memorial Day, let us take a closer look at the number of U.S. soldiers who lost their lives. According to my research on PBS.org, more than 1.1 million Americans have died in wartime throughout the span of our nation's history. To put that into perspective, that's over 10 times the number of people currently living in Carver County. However, to me, Memorial Day is more than just a day to honor all the people who died while fighting. It is a day to think about all the soldiers who ever served for America. There are over 1 million active soldiers and almost 20 million surviving veterans. Our country has seen almost 3 million Americans wounded or injured throughout wartime history. These numbers don't even include those who have experienced the mental wounds of war. We should honor the people who survived because they had to undergo so much and they will never be the same as they were before. Lots of soldiers have experienced a condition called post-traumatic stress disorder. We appreciate the sacrifices of families as well because of what they do to contribute to our freedom. I'm talking about wives and husbands, sons and daughters, aunts and uncles, who watch their family members risk their lives. The families of fallen soldiers should also be honored and remembered. They sacrificed their loved ones to help protect our country from enemy bullets. Had they not let their husbands and brothers go away from home to defend our nation, we may not have the privileges of freedom that we have today. Though today is about honoring the heroes we've lost, let's also remember to honor the heroes still with us. We, as citizens of the United States of America, should also recognize the war veterans who are now in need. We can do this by helping organizations like the Wounded Warriors Project and VFW. Please try to find ways to be a part of this effort to care for those who have served. Let's not let Memorial Day be the only day we honor the soldiers who served for our nation. Thanks everybody for listening to my speech, and a special thanks to the organizers for letting me honor the servicemen and women who served for our nation.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Okay, the next speaker is Rachel Spoden. She's from Middle School East and the daughter of Brad and Janine Spoden.
Hi, I'm Rachel Spoden from Chaska Memorial. When I think of Memorial Day, I think of the soldiers who fought and died in battle. And I bet many Americans observe Memorial Day by visiting cemeteries or memorials, holding family gatherings, and participating in parades. But it's so much more than that. I see Memorial Day in two different ways. First, I see Memorial Day as a day where people decorate the graves of fallen soldiers and honor them as doing so. A man named General John A. Logan said 30th of May, 1868 is designated for the purpose of strewing with flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who died in the defense of their country during the late rebellion and whose bodies now lie in almost every city, village, and hamlet churchyard in the land. This shows that he cared for all the men that honored, fought, and died in the line of duty. By saying that the bodies lie in every part, he's saying that the war impacted everyone, everywhere. Many soldiers who have served and made an impact on many people's lives. Many people put flags and flowers on graves as a beautiful gesture, and that it is. Whenever you have a bad day, or you ever get that feeling that nobody cares about you, I think of Memorial Day. As people I don't know or probably will never meet have sacrificed themselves for freedom. This shows me that everyone can show kindness for everyone, no matter who they are. Secondly, I see Memorial Day as freedom. Recently in history class, we were in South Korea. I am just constantly thinking of how lucky I am compared to them because they are so restricted in what they do in their everyday life. The soldiers that we are honoring today have done everything in their power to give us everything we've always wanted. We are able to decorate soldiers' graves. We are able to have parades, and that's because of the soldiers. Their journey shows me that if I put my mind to anything, I'm able to do it. The soldiers that lay under our feet in cities across the country have died because they thought that if they serve, they will make a change, and that is exactly what they did. In conclusion, Memorial Day means that Americans care for everyone, and so we honor people who have fallen in the line of duty and have fought for our freedom. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, our next speaker is Cammie Messenbrink. She's from St. John's School and is the daughter of Wade and Dana Messenbrink. Give her a hand.
As I think of what Memorial Day means to me, the first thing I think about is the word sacrifice. What does sacrifice mean? It means to give up something for the sake of something or someone else. There are many forms of sacrifice in our society today. There is sacrifice that I make when I use my time to help out my family by doing chores around the house. There's the type of sacrifice that my mom makes for me. when she takes off of work so I can make my doctor or dentist appointments, or when my dad has to get a short bite of sleep so he can watch me perform in sports or school activities. These sacrifices are trivial compared to the ones our men and women in the armed forces make. The sacrifice that families give when a loved one is away serving, which my family experienced when my grandfather fought in Vietnam. The sacrifice that my grandfather, Morris Messenger, gave to his country when he was drafted to help his country fight in the Vietnam War. My grandfather was lucky enough to escape immediate harm or injury while he was in war, but now battles have lifelong health issues due to Agent Orange. But then there are many men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice. That's why we are all here today, to honor the ones who have served and the ones who gave their life for our freedom. If it wasn't for the brave men and women giving their sacrifices, we wouldn't have the freedom we do. Freedom is to say what we want, freedom to travel wherever and whenever we want, freedom to thank God for these soldiers and families and the sacrifices they give for all of us. Freedom to believe in Jesus, who also made the ultimate sacrifice by dying on the cross for me. So, how to honor these men and women? I'd like to share a prayer that Eleanor Roosevelt prayed along with her during World War II, which reads, Dear Lord, lest I continue my complacent way, help me remember that somewhere, somehow, out there a man died for me, as long as there is war. I then must ask and answer, am I worth dying for? Honor these men and women by living our lives in service to others and treating each other with respect worthy of the sacrifices they have given. God bless the men and women for the armed forces today, and may God continue to bless America. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I already got a malfunction. All right, my next speaker is Kierman Becker from Middle School West, and he is the son of Brian Becker and Natalie Pearson.
Hi, I'm Kieran. I've been asked to write what Memorial Day means to me. And when you Google what does Memorial Day mean, the definition that pops up is a day on which those who died in active military services are remembered. Traditionally observed on May 30th, but now officially observed on the last Monday in May. But Memorial Day is that and much more. 1 Timothy 4:12 says, Let no one despise you for your youth, but set the believers an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, in purity. These amazing veterans and the ones not here with us today came from all different backgrounds. But no matter where they came from and who looked down on them, they fought for us, for our rights, for our freedom, and they even fought for the people that said they couldn't dream big. They truly showed all of us an example of love and what it means to be a hero. I believe Memorial Day is a day to honor those who have fallen in battle while fighting for all of us, no matter if they're behind a computer or on the front lines. All heroes deserve respect. As we know, freedom is not free, and these men and women know that, but they still go out there and fight for us.
Let's give all four of them a really big hand. Our guest speaker today is retired Army Specialist Harry Niemela, Barber County, Vietnam from 1967, and with an extended touring in 1969. Harry served with a distinguished unit called the Black Lions Delta Company, 2nd of the 28th 1st Infantry Division. He also served as an assistant machine gunner, a tunnel rat. For those of you who don't know what a tunnel rat is, that's a person who goes in the hole and tries to find the enemy. And a radio operator with numerous captains. Harry received 2 Bronze Stars and the Purple Heart. Harry is a member of the Chaska American Legion and the Chaska VFW. It's my honor today to welcome Army Specialist Harry Niemela.
Thank you, Commander. I want to thank the fire department, the people that serve bravely with them. Also with our serving police department. And thanks to all veterans and those now serving and all families of veterans. Today is a day to remember and honor those that gave the ultimate sacrifice of their lives in the belief of freedom, as we know it here in the United States of America. Our flags, our honor guards, and families at the cemeteries today got wet. But it did not diminish our resolve to honor those that gave their lives for our country, your country. Today is not about me. It is about the men and the women of our armed forces and services. They are no different than those who fought with George Washington, General Pershing of World War I, World War II, South Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, and more recent places like South Africa. These men and women, they are no different than those who fought with George Washington, General Pershing of World War I, World War II, South Korea. They did their jobs while in harm's way and while fighting nobly, unselfishly, giving the ultimate sacrifice, their lives in the belief of freedom. When you go to our Carver County Courthouse, you will notice 9 names from Vietnam and names from other wars inscribed on the granite monument. They are not just names, but men that gave their lives for our country. We are reminded today of these soldiers' sacrifices, their lives and lives that their families will never know. In closing, just like other soldiers around me in Vietnam that paid the unselfish, ultimate price, I was lucky. I came home. I will never forget them. Their sacrifices and their devotion to duty and their lives so you and I can live freely. Thank you.
As soon as I am, I forgot one of my speakers. One of our lady speakers over here is Kieran Becker. She's from Middle School West, and he is the son of Brian and Natalie Pearson. I'm sorry. Did I mess that up? I'm so sorry. Believe it or not, it says son there, and it's supposed to be daughter. Okay? Like that. I apologize, but here you go.
My name is Jody Reed, and I'm from Guardian Angels Catholic School. And today is more than a normal day. It's a day to show respect, thankfulness, and remembrance to those who served. They put their lives at risk so we can be safe, so we can live our lives. Our freedom comes from those who fought for us, who fought for our country. Without these people who endangered their own lives, our country wouldn't be the same as it is today. Last year, I had the honor and privilege to be a part of the wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. It was a very important moment for me, and it was an experience I will never forget. Jesus in such an incredible way. I wouldn't change that moment for anything else. If it wasn't for these people, my life wouldn't be the same. To the known, the unknown, and the future soldiers, I thank you for serving our country.
Free hug. I like free hugs. All right. Let me go back here for a second. That's what happens when you go to Plan B. All right. First of all, I want to get her name right. It's not on my list for some reason. But anyway, that's okay. I apologize, and I thank her very much for coming up and speaking today. I'd like to give, real quick, everybody that came up here to speak today, please give them a round of applause. Sergeant?
Fire Department Scouts, stand up.
Let us honor those veterans who were with us last year and have since passed to eternal rest. At the time, I will read the names of each members of the American Legion and the Chaska Memorial.
Present arms. Present arms.
From the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Stephen Koenig. From the American Legion, from the American Legion, Ron. From the American Legion, Don Wenz. Forrestal.
Arms.
Everyone. And freedom and democracy. We all take this for granted sometimes, including us standing up here. But remember those who did give their ultimate sacrifice. Let us now bow our heads for a moment. Sergeant?
Present arms. Order. Fire Department, order. Arms. Parade. Rest. At ease.
This time, the high school band will play a patriotic song. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. It's always an honor to have you and your band here. Thank you so much. Before I get on to the final prayer, I want the young kids to stand up again and please give them a hand. Go ahead and stand up. Thank you. This time I'm going to call Steve Tompkins, American Legion, up to say our final prayer.
Thank you for the many blessings which you have given our country, and grant that we may be enabled to use them better to your service. Let us all to like-mindedness and fellowship that makes for the establishment and the maintenance of rightful and abiding peace. Through our faith in your power,
I got to share one thing before I stop. If you go online, you can find 10 things that you didn't know about Memorial Day. There's one on there that caught my eye. Memorial Day was originally called Decoration Day by General John Logan, commander of the Grand Army of the Republic, called for the Day of Remembrance on May 30th, 1868, for the purpose of stewing of flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who had died in the defense of their country during a revolution. Nearly 620,000 soldiers lost their lives in that Civil War. Here today, in free country. I want to thank everybody that came today. Thank you for helping out with Plan B. I hope I didn't mess it up too bad. I wish to thank those who helped plan the program. These men and women standing up here today mean a lot to me. I come from a family of veterans as well, and Memorial Day always makes me tear up. All of those who attended the service, I especially want to thank the students again for taking part in the program. Urge to come up here and do that. And the Veterans of Foreign Wars would like to invite those of you freshmen on the patio. I don't know if we're still going to have it, but we're I believe we. If you serve your country, you're eligible. We would like to consider joining the VFW as well. We could use you. These guys aren't getting any younger up here, okay? No, I kid. Or if you have any questions, we have our auxiliary members here as well. And if you have any questions concerning helping out or volunteering, please come to one of us who's wearing a uniform, and we'll be glad to point you in the right direction. As you leave today, take a moment to walk out past the monument by the American Legion. It's over there, the soldier. It's the century. It's titled the century. It symbolizes all. Today we honor and remember all those who gave their lives in defense of our country. I wish to recognize all the veterans that are here today. From this veteran to you, thank you for your service. Welcome home. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Sergeant.
Fire Department 10, Hutt. Yes, miss.